Luke, chapter 10, and we cover verses 17 through 20. It talks about Jesus and his disciples. More than the 12, we're talking about the 70. And Christ had sent them out, angel, to do some work. Now that work is over, Stephanie, that part of it, and they have returned. And they came back rejoicing because of what they were able to do. They had power to heal the sick. Yes. They had power to raise the dead. Jesus gave them power to, scorpions could bite them and they would not die. He had told them how to go out. Now they had returned and they were excited about the great things and preaching the gospel that God had caused them to do. And he said something, Christ said something that got my attention, and hopefully it would help a lot of us today, and you can help your relatives in this same area. He says in that they were bragging and talking about it. Look at 17 through 20. It says this, and the 70 return again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through your name. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from heaven. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, tell somebody, it is. In this rejoice not. Look at your neighbors and neighbor, don't rejoice in what he gave you power to do. Look what he says. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not. I gave it to you, but don't get too excited about what you're able to do. That the spirits are subject unto you. But rather rejoice because your name have been written in heaven. I want to talk about just for a moment faith over ministry. Christmas said, what in the world is he talking about the other day? And we talking about, well, Sister Evelyn told you about Jesus and the birth. And that's important. The most important. But I want to talk about some things that we are struggling with. I'm talking about believers. Don't go too far, y'all. Don't go too far. Don't go too far. I'll be through in a minute. Come on, son. Go take your break and come on back. Water break. I'm going to talk about some things that we're struggling with. Family, we notice in our text, Luke chapter 10, verses 17 to 20. God is not talking to the homo. He's not talking to the murderer. He's not talking to the adulterer. He's not talking to the liar. He's not talking to the thief. Helen, he's talking to his disciples. Earl, he got some information for his disciples. Because he don't want his disciples, Alonzo, to get caught up in the ability that God had gave him. that if we get caught up in what he has blessed us to do and do marvelous things, he know us as humans. Y'all ain't praying with me. We will allow those things to make us think that we are more than what we really are. Even now, out a little bit. Even now, y'all say amen with me real quick. I want you to listen, but I never get amen. Even now, without a little bit. You come to church, you try to pay your tithes, you try to treat folks right, you try to help clean up the church, you try to work around here, you sing in the choir, you hug each other, you try to minister. Y'all get tired of me telling you to stand up and sit down, but y'all do it anyway because you want to be right and faithful. Even now, been doing our little bit, we think that we are exempt from what other folks have to go through. Tell somebody, don't fall for that, don't fall for that. And Rena, I want to deal with this today because sometimes when we are trying and God is using us, we are the main ones, Erica, that have trouble when life starts throwing curveballs at us. And most of the time, not that you're not going to have trouble, because trouble going to be here, Cedric. I got to close and now I'm going to close. Here it is, Vanessa. Here it is. 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 It's not the trouble. It's not the trouble one that comes, because we're gonna have that. Now here it is what God has shown us. But when trouble, I'm not talking about hurting you now, because it's gonna hurt. But when trouble starts getting the best of you, you done got caught up in the trouble instead of the trouble getting caught up in you. Y'all messing up. You letting your trouble dictate to you now instead of you dictating to your trouble. Yeah. And when trouble gets you and get you where it wants you, that means get your mind, you're going to catch hell trying to get it loose. Most of the time, 90% of the time, just like our skit showed, when trouble comes and starts getting us, the first thing we want to stop doing is stop going where we can get away from trouble. Yeah. And that's hearing a word from God. Disciples, he's talking to the disciples. He's talking to the disciples. They had just went on a mission and they had done some great things. But now they had got caught up, married, in the great things. That thing had got going and captivated them. You'd be surprised at the folks in church that get caught up in ministry. In ministry, it becomes a driving force. But God has showed us through reading his word that you can do ministry and still go to hell. I'm preaching better than y'all looking out there already. You can do good stuff because you're just a good person. But if you're going to be saved, you got to believe that God is God. So what I'm saying is, when we do ministry, when we're trying to work for God, we work because we are saved. I'm not working trying to be saved. And that's what most of us are right there. See, because when you work trying to be saved, there's going to be some time that you ain't going to feel like you ain't saved and you're going to quit working. I'm hitting somebody here now. When you feel like you ain't saved, you say, well, I might as well drop this thing. I'm through with this. Because don't look like everything I try to do right, that ain't happening to my man. That's because you trying to do right because you think right is going to get you there. Right ain't going to get you there. God get you there. I'm doing right because I'm already on my way there. And whatever falls under my trying to do right, I'm preaching better than y'all looking out there. Whatever happens to me because I'm trying to do right, I'm not going to worry about it. Wonder because when I do all that I can do, when I control everything that to God and keep on moving. Just make sure you control. That's the biggest thing that got me in trouble. I'm going to do this and I'm going to let y'all go. Biggest thing that got me in trouble is in ministry. I thought that the ministry evolved around me. I pastored a church 5 years in Mississippi. I didn't want to go there, but God sent me there. And I tried all I could to leave there, but God kept me there. And when I decided to stay there, God said, now you can go. I didn't like the way I went. But you can't, boy, y'all ain't living it. But when God does something for you, you can't control how he do it. Y'all pray with me here. Okay, I got here and I learned some things. Because the lesson I learned going through the church I left, I learned a great lesson. So I thought I had this thing set and had it made. I had this thing packed. I got this thing down right, and I know how to do this thing. Got here, and folks started growing. We started moving, and things started going. And then we turned around, started building, and packed the church. Then this bottom floor, and then it get unpacked. Turn around, we had a split here. That's okay, Lord. What's the problem? God said, you told me to help you. God Almighty. You told me to help you. And I'm helping you. I talk to God like that. Babies, I talk to God like that. I say, if you call this helping, I need you not to help me then. Folk that labor with me left. Y'all gonna pray with me here? Folks that labor with me left, and I couldn't understand. Folk that said they would never leave left here. And I said, Lord, what is the problem? What's going on? And he said, you told me to help you. I'm helping you. I said, well, okay. I got so bad then one time it got down to about 20 folks. I took my pew. Y'all interested in this? Because what I'm saying is, I'm trying to show y'all that everybody can get caught up like that on things that we think we control. I took that podium, it wasn't that podium, no, the white podium, and pulled everybody to the side and went to working on them. But turn in when I went to work on them, we were already 4 notes behind. Mortgage note, $4,800 a month. We were 4 notes behind. I called the bank. Bank said, I ain't putting nothing on the back. We ain't refinancing. I'm going to give you a little time to get it together. Y'all ain't praying with me. I wish y'all were praying with me. I'm just trying to show you when you trying to hold on to it, then God can't work. And when you give it to God, y'all ain't praying with me. You can't dictate how God work it out. You just got to trust that he knows what's best, how to work this thing out for you. I started working it. I told the folks. I said, Lord, what did I do wrong? What was going on? He said, you started the church wrong. I said, what you mean I started the church wrong? Y'all done heard this story before. I said, I preach your word. He said, yeah. I teach tithe and offering. He said, yeah. I teach giving. He said, yeah. He said, what I do wrong? I said, you taught it wrong. He said, you taught. I said, well, you're going to have to explain this to me. He said, you taught tithe like it was a sacrifice. Say, you don't even like sacrificing every Sunday. Y'all ain't praying with me here. So I never asked anybody for anything that I don't give them. So God said, when I ask you for something, I give it to you. If I asked you for $10, that means I gave you $100. Y'all ain't praying with me here. And if you can't live out of 90, shame on you. That ain't on me, that's on you. I said, okay, God, I got that straight. What about the folks leaving and carrying on? He said, that's on you too. Definitely. He said, you wanted to be buddy with them. Get to know them. And ain't nothing wrong with it, but you thought you could win them with friendship, kinship. Y'all ain't praying with me. In relationship. And he said, you can draw people like that, but when folks get mad at you, when folk get mad at you because y'all friends, they'll walk out. He said, I never told you to grow the church on friendship, kinship, and relationship. I told you to grow the church on discipleship. And a disciple will get mad, but they won't leave because they know he's bigger than you. And I got it straight from that point on. And my whole point then, I started looking at God. Let him work it. Let him work it. I understand a lot of things. No, I didn't. But this is what got me through and keep getting me through. I trusted him. Even when I couldn't see it. Give yourself a high five. But say, there it is. Raise them hands. Say, Lord, I'm going to do better. Now I promise you, if you do better, you'll get better. Y'all ain't praying. You'll stop coming in here with your head down. You know what I mean? You come in here because your money is funny. You're going to get paid off next week. Come on here. And if you ain't going to get paid off, go get you a job so you can get paid off. I see signs everywhere. Help wanted. They paying $15 an hour at McDonald's now. Y'all hollering about they wasn't paying nothing. You can do all right. Y'all can pray with me here. Well, I ain't gonna work there. Why? If you ain't working nowhere, that's a good place to work. Can I preach to y'all a little while here? Nobody said you got to stay there, but you got to go to work somewhere. I can buy you food 1 or 2 times, but that's finna get cut. Y'all gonna pray with me? Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, I love you, but I can't let you break me. I had a member tell me, and I'm closing this. I was walking through here one day, had my head down. Jewel and I were talking. Jewel's a pastor. I know it's rough on you, but you right where I want you. He said, when the church was full, Brenda, Jewel said, we didn't see you. You came out when it was preaching time. And all of us stood up to clap for you. But say we saw the deacons. They taught the classes. You wouldn't even come in there. Y'all ain't praying with me here. Big Jewel. Say, I know it hurt you that they left. He said, but don't blame them. Because they were glad they followed the one that was leading them. Y'all ain't praying with me here. I come here to see you. And I know it's rough on you. George, he said, but I'm getting what I come here for. Y'all ain't praying with me here. I was sitting back there. I got to close now. I'm just talking about you got to let God do it the way he want to do it. I was sitting back there in the back, power. Because there's never been a time that I didn't have 4 or 5 preachers with me. And every preacher I had thought they could do what they couldn't do. Y'all ain't praying with me. And now, I ain't got nobody. So I'm sitting there pouting. Shirley came to the office after counting the little money. It didn't take her but 5 minutes. So, Pastor, I'm praying for you. I said, yeah, Shirley, I need prayer. She said, I ain't never saw you or seen you look like this. And it wasn't about the money. Because I still could maneuver a little bit. I put my house up twice. Y'all ain't praying with me here. But this is the first time it looked like I was by myself. Oh, I had y'all, the faithful him, but I'm talking about somebody that I could deal with. Shirley said, have you thought about that's the best thing to happen to you? She said, what you mean? She said, look like everybody you try to use, try to take over. Y'all ain't praying with me yet. I'll show you how God can come to you some things. You think that? She said, I know it's going to be rough on you. But instead of trying to bring folks in, why don't you start training your folks? When you need something done, just call on who you need. Y'all ain't praying with me here. If you need somewhere to go somewhere, just call on who you want to go. And I found out that when I stopped having side meetings and just talk to y'all on Sunday morning, tell you what I want. I would get here about 6:30 and 7 o'clock. First one here, open the gate. About 10 years ago, show you how it worked. Brother Tosser came to me. He said, Pastor, I want to tell you something. When you get here from now on, you may have to unlock the church, but that gate gonna be open. Woo! And I don't remember but one time that I had to open that gate, and that's when he called me and said he was going out of town. Ever since that time, I just use that as an example. I got other members. Ain't God all right? Ain't the Lord all right? I got a yard man that we give a little stipend. Ain't the Lord all right? He's doing the best that he can. But I got members like Sister Bobby. Ain't the Lord all right? Come up onto the church. Although I got a yard man, I see her putting mulch in that flower bed. I see her cleaning out that flower bed. Ain't God all right? She ain't complaining. Talking about it ain't her job. I wish I had somebody up in here. Ain't God all right? I know I can tell somebody, everybody up in here. Ain't God all right? Erica, stay in this church. The doctor told her she couldn't drive, but she stayed faithful. Didn't care about them seats. Came on anyhow. Clean the church. Start working around the church. And just look at her. She's still here. She don't look like what she been. So what I'm telling you can't tell God how to do it. Ain't God all right? When you give it to him, so say, ever just give it to him and let God have it. You may not understand. You may not understand. May not understand what he's doing in your life. But God is working it out for you. Ain't God all right? Woo! Ain't Lord all right? Y'all heard me. Y'all heard me. Y'all heard me. Talk about the Father. Y'all heard me. Talk about the young man that got shipwrecked. Ain't God all right? And you heard me. Talk about me. When there was a little boy. They were very poor. And he wanted a little red wagon. He told the Lord, this Christmas, I want a little red wagon. His mama, his daddy heard him talk about that little red wagon. They scratched, they worked, and when Christmas came, he got up early, he got up early, he got up early, Christmas morning, before day ran downstairs, saw his little red wagon. Later on, the parents got ready to go to church, but the little boy in the wagon was gone. Ain't God all right? They decided they're going to church and they'll get him straight when they get back home. Ain't the Lord all right? Give me a high five. Yeah! Ain't God all right? When they got to church, the members was in an uproar. Ain't God all right? Ain't the Lord all right? The church Bible that stayed with the pulpit. When the pastor got to the church, the Bible was gone. Look at your neighbor. That's a shame. Somebody that took the Bible. Ain't God all right? They were around there trying to figure out who took the Bible. About 30 minutes, the little boy came through the door with a little wagon. He came down the middle line. Ain't God all right? The parents jumped up and saw it, and in that wagon there was a Bible. Over in that wagon, the parents, the preacher said, little boy, why did you take the Bible? And the little boy said, I'm sorry to get y'all upset, but I told the Lord, if he buy me a little red wagon, I would give him the first ride. Give somebody a prize, and neighbor, if you make God a promise, it doesn't matter what folks say. Ain't God all right? Stand on your feet, give yourself a high five, and point at your neighbor and say, neighbor, God kept his promise. And he kept his promise in spite of adversity. His parents knew they had adversity trying to get it. So he kept his promise. Faith over ministry. Don't get caught up in what God has given you the ability to do. That's great. But rejoice that your name is written in the Lamb Book of Life.